Good morning once again, and thank you for watching Sunrise at Sea. If you just joined us, you are right in time for Twitter Jabs Part 2, and the topic of discussion this morning is understanding the abridged curriculum that we are adapting to bridge the gap of children being out of school for close to 2 years because of the pandemic, of course. My name is Sandra Cope, and I am joined in studio this morning by the spokesperson of Ministry of Education and Sports, Dr. Dennis Mujimba. Good morning, Doctor. How are you?
Good morning, Sandra. Thank you for inviting us.
Thank you for coming through. We have so many questions concerning this new curriculum.
Yes.
So what is the abridged curriculum? What is it? Because people don't understand what it is.
I think to put it succinctly, it is a shortened curriculum. It is really not new. We've simply taken the old, removed what we think is not the must-knows, and only left what you must know for you to progress to the next class. So remember, as a way of continuity of learning and catching up on lost time, as you rightly said, a number of learners were out of school for quite a long time. We came up with an intervention of automatic progression. So which means you do not necessarily have to sit promotional exams before you move to the next class.
Okay.
Now, for you to be able to automatically progress, but again, make sure that you progress with the basic knowledge of the age or class that is expected of you, we came up with what we call a remedial learning period. Remedial learning period means if Sandra was in P2 and she has been automatically progressed to P3, there are basics in P2 that she's supposed to know.
Yes, definitely.
Now we have moved those to P3, which you'll catch up with in the first term. So when you reported on January 10th, you're first going to go through a remedial period of learning to catch up with the must-knows of P2.
Yes.
Then you will step up to P3 content. Now for us to have a systematic way of the teacher transmitting or relaying this learning to the learner, we package that in the abridged curriculum. It is a systematic way of delivery of learning in a shorter time, but of things which are high quality to ensure that you don't lose out on the learning competences expected of you.
And does this mean we are completely switching from the standard curriculum to the abridged curriculum?
Now, we are not switching entirely in terms of content and learning methodology. We are simply focusing on what is vital, what is it that, because if all factors constant, you have all the time, you can study everything in the old curriculum, but you don't have all the time. There's an exception of learners who have all the time. That is the learners who have just joined P1, those who have just joined Senior 1, and those who have just Senior 5. Those have all the time because the academic calendar.
So they are sticking to the standard curriculum.
Sticking to the old curriculum or standard curriculum, if you may call it. But those who are progressing, who have already been in other classes and they're simply progressing, those need to be abridged in their learning so that they can progress without necessarily having a knowledge deficit. So it's a high quality curriculum. There is no compromise on quality. We had to take it through. I'm a member of the National Curriculum Development Center Governing Council. So we had to take the abridged curriculum through all the processes to ensure quality is not compromised.
How long will we have this abridged curriculum?
We shall have it for 3 years. So that means the learner who is now in Senior 2 will use the abridged curriculum until they sit their O-levels, Senior 4.
Yes.
Because we do not want to switch Sandra from having used the abridged curriculum, then when you reach Senior 3 or Senior 4, we change you to an old one. No. Just continue with that
to
until
phase
you
them
exit.
out.
Exactly. Then the senior ones who are on the normal curriculum, let me put it that way,
yes,
will continue with that until... It is an advantage to the county, by the way. It means that even if Sandra, who is in Senior 2 now, completes Senior 4, and you have been using the abridged curriculum, once you're done, we are not going to trash the abridged curriculum. It will remain a resource to the country to use in cases of emergency or when education system gets disrupted due
But
to
Doctor,
COVID,
I would like to
stuff
take
like
you
that.
back a bit. You say this abridged curriculum, we are not compromising on quality, the
Yes,
quality
yes.
of education, because this has been, parents have been talking about this, and some students have complained that our curriculum is so jam-packed with so much that we
Yes,
do not need.
yes.
I remember West African history, and
yes.
people will say, why do I need West African history? Why do I need this? I'm not saying you don't need West African history, but what I am saying is, if this new curriculum is working,
Yes.
and it is compressed, why shouldn't we keep it?
Sandra, I think you've touched where it's itching. This complaint, the First Lady has always said when she came to the ministry that the curricula we are using, both the primary school, secondary school curricula, O-level and A-level, she said it is just too heavy, it's breaking the kids.
Yes.
Now, not just the kids, but also the teachers. So we embarked on reforming the lower secondary curriculum, which we tried as much as possible as NCDC. But then you have the Sandras who are still so nostalgic about what they learned. So we even feel that with the lower secondary curriculum, we did not strip it the way we should have stripped it, because we've even abridged it as well. So from what we are seeing, we are already in the phase of reviewing the A-level curriculum. We are already consulting around the country on what is it that needs to be removed, needs to be repositioned. So you're going to see a review of the A-level curriculum. It has to be ready within the next 2 years. Now for the primary school, still the same thing. We are going to review this curriculum. Now, I think COVID has compounded the urgency.
Yes, it has.
And everyone is now, I think, in the frame of mind to take a closer look at this curriculum and say, hey guys.
For the first time, we're on the same page.
Everyone now is on the same page with the Sandras who are saying, you have to leave Mansa Musa, you have to leave Kunta Kinte, you have to leave Nungu Yamawe, all these things. Now, everyone is saying we have to do something about the curriculum. We are not turning back. I think that is the good thing out of this. We are not turning back. We are going to review our curricula for primary and A-level. The urgent one now is for A-level, because those who are using the lower reformed curriculum of O-level,
yes,
they have to use a reformed A-level curriculum within 2 years' time when they complete O-level. So there's a sense of urgency in everything that we are doing.
Talking about the sense of urgency,
Yes.
the budget for printing these copies and everything was at 12 billion.
Yes.
But the Ministry of Finance
Yes.
somehow froze this money towards the Ministry of Education and Sports. Why did this happen?
Now, actually, to put more perspective to that, initially as NCDC, we had asked for 42 billion because we thought we'd do a thorough job. But then when we got a wind of hope that we're going to reopen in January, we realized that we did not have the luxury of time of doing everything as
Time
you
was of
normally
the essence.
exactly you do when you're rolling out a curriculum. So we looked at the budget and reduced it to 12 billion without necessarily compromising the quality of the rollout. Now, by the way, that 12 billion we're asking for is not extra funds. We already had it in our budget for this year. But remember when our revenues became tight, government froze the budgets of across the sectors.
Yes.
So as NCDC, it was also affected. So that money was not cut, it was frozen. And the minister, the First Lady, has said that once, because the case has been made, Minister of Education is going to engage with Finance to see that that money is released to NCDC. But we're already in the procurement process to have the hard copies printed for the schools that cannot afford downloading.
So the NCDC further slashed this budget to 1.8 billion.
Yes.
Has it been released by the Ministry of Finance?
Which one? The
1.8 billion that the NCDC...
No, I'm not sure whether it has been released yet. But what we are asking for from Finance as a ministry is for us to give us the 12 billion, which is already there. It's not new money.
It's not new money because
No.
it was
It
in
was
your
there,
budget
yes.
before.
And by the because we have liaisons between
Yes.
the NCDC and Finance, that money is there. As it is a matter of stating the case and say we want an exemption, simply release these monies for us.
Well, I would like to quote the spokesperson of the Ministry of Finance,
Yes.
Mr. Jim Mugunga, and he said that he had not seen the request from the
Yes.
Ministry of Education. I quote, "If the ministry has justified the reason for the money, the accounting officers will handle them, but this takes a process."
Yes.
Do you think this, as we say, time is of the essence,
Yes.
this bureaucracy is just keeping us from doing what needs to be done
Yes.
like yesterday?
Sandra, I think bureaucracy is not as evil as we think. I think bureaucracy is good. It is healthy, because what you do not want is Sandra sending a text message to the CEO of CTV and saying, release this cash. So there are those negotiations going on. The Permanent Secretary of the Ministry of Education and the Permanent Secretary for Finance, they are already in talks. At high level, the minister is already engaged. So those negotiations are already going on to have those monies released. Everyone knows if we don't get the abridged curriculum correct, then we are in trouble.
Yes,
It is
absolutely.
the only way we are going to stabilize the system and ensure that learners who had lost time, they are able to catch up. Now, again, there is urgency, but there is no panic, if I may put it that way.
Okay.
Because, you know, we have 3 years. We are almost halfway the first term, but we still have the 3 years. So even if we end the first term before printing, we'll need those printed materials for the second term. Good enough, we are not printing new textbooks. It is just the curriculum and its syllabi.
So what has been the response of teachers and different schools? How are they embracing this new curriculum?
There is a lot of support, and because teachers themselves know that we have made it lighter for them to know that you do not have to teach everything in the old syllabi. You now have a refined content to deliver. However, there's been a bit of anxiety because some of them wanted to start the term with the curriculum syllabi.
Yes.
Number 2, they also wanted to be oriented. To be reoriented. What is it that has been moved? Because remember, Sandra, some content has been dropped completely. Some content has been moved to the next level.
Yes.
So teachers just wanted to be aware of that ahead of time. But we did not have the opportunity to do that before we reopened. So part of the 12 billion we are talking about, by the way, is not just about printing, but it is also to jumpstart or to fast track the reorientation process for the teachers.
So in the interim, as this is, what is the ministry doing to help the teachers, especially the teachers up country?
Now we are using virtual trainings. It is an opportunity that all of us got used to with the COVID lockdowns, but it is a stopgap measure because internet coverage in this country is not 100%.
Absolutely.
So where it is possible, we are using face-to-face meetings, but again, we are constrained on facilitation because we are still looking to the 12 billion. So the 12 billion will bridge the gap between what we're able to do with the face-to-face training, given the resources we have, the virtual meetings that we are already all doing as well, because we trained the national trainers who are all ready to move out to these institutions.
So what would you advise in your parting shots? What would you advise the students, the parents,
Yes.
and the teachers alike concerning this abridged curriculum?
Is that one, it is a very high quality curriculum. We are not compromising on the material that learners are supposed to have. Don't be anxious. Nothing is changing. We are not changing the way we are being assessed. You're not going to be graded differently. You're not going to have an inferior certificate because you've used an abridged curriculum. You'll still be as good as those who have been using the other curricula.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you, Doctor.
You're
Thank you for
welcome.
that clarification. I'm sure so many people have questions. Thank you for
And
coming
thank
in.
you for inviting us.
Well, that was Dr. Dennis Mujimba, and is the spokesperson of Ministry of Education and Sports. And today we have been dissecting the abridged curriculum. We hope you picked a thing or two. And as he says, it is not a matter of panic. It is a matter of urgency. Well, that was all we had for you on the Twitter Jobs 2 this morning. But don't go anywhere, because next on is Sarah with Hit or Miss. Stay at sea.